So look at all that. And then he has a lot of scratches. This bumper needs reattachment. This, since like they repainted it with shoe polish. This, look at this headlights. So hazy, just a lot of oxidation. All this chip in here. It's missing that light. It's broken. You hear that sound? DSC is always on. Then the airbag sensor off and on. This. What am I doing? As some of you know, I had a newer car that gave me problems, and then I was down to my older Lexus and this BMW. But this BMW, as of late, starting to give me some hiccups, and I realized that I need to put it away, and I need a second car because this BMW needs to be put away for maybe a couple of weeks, who knows. But this is not a good daily driver. I treated it like a daily driver, but after 12-13 years, I've realized to put it in the back burner, make it like a third cool car that I can drive on the weekends. The last long trip that I made on this car was just last week, and I took it on a round trip of about 300 miles, and it did great on the hills. But as soon as I got here, it started giving me problems. Sometimes it struggles to stay on. It may be a vacuum leak, but there's other issues. I think I need a third vehicle for when this one is down, or my wife needs to go somewhere and she doesn't want to drive this one. So I'm on my way to check out a 2003, I think, Lexus RX300. I always liked the first generation RX, and I found a good prospect that is nearby. So I told the owner that I was going to be there by 4 o'clock. It does have high miles. It's got nearly 200,000 miles, and we know that Lexus can go a lot further than that. So let's go check out the vehicle. It's the morning after I bought that Lexus RX300, and I'm on my way to drop it off at the mechanic. Yesterday, I bought it here in San Diego, and I dropped it off in Menifee because that gets me closer to Hemet, where that mechanic is. It's somebody that I've used in the past, so I want to take him this vehicle because there's some issues that I need to fix and address. And I broke him down in 3: the urgent, the important, and then things that I just want to do for taste, like aesthetic repairs and upgrades. So let me tell you what's urgent. The lady that sold it to me only had it for a year, and she only put about 2,000 miles on that vehicle, and she doesn't have any record of the timing belt being replaced. With that, I'll probably replace the water pump and the thermostat and maybe hoses, whatever it needs. Mechanically, it's really good. I drove it briefly before I bought it, and it drives pretty solid. The interior is pretty clean, the AC is pretty strong, and the all-wheel drive system seems to be working fine. It was crucial for me that the vehicle had all-wheel drive because I've had SUVs in the past, and the all-wheel drive system is pretty good to have. It's not something that you definitely need here in California because it hardly ever snows, or, I don't off-road too much. But there's been a couple of times that I've come to roads that are close to any vehicles that are not either all-wheel drive or that have tire chains. So I figured if I was going to get one of these vehicles, I may as well go for the all-wheel drive version of this RX300. At that, I knew I could have paid a little bit less for one that didn't have it, but that one was nearby my house. It was only a 3-mile drive to go check it out. Then the important stuff is the vehicle has a lot of electrical gremlins, and one of them is draining the battery. The owner said, or the seller said, that it's about every 3 days. So if she doesn't drive it in 3 days, she's going to need to recharge that battery. I looked it up online, and it could be something as easy as a sensor to the computer. So how much is that going to be? I don't know, maybe a used computer for that vehicle in a worst case scenario. I think that maybe with $1,000 to $1,500, I can sort out all the mechanical issues. Also, another thing is the vehicle stability control. I read about it. Seems like an easy repair for people that know how to do it, but it's on. And I'm going to see if this mechanic can fix it or reset it. And then another thing is the emergency brake light is always on. The airbag sensor is setting off the warning light on the dash as well. The CD changer or the DVD player for the navigation system is running the navigation system screen at all times. So it resets every few minutes. And I want to think that that may be one of the issues why the battery gets drained. Like I said, those are sort of important issues. And then we come to the aesthetics. So depending on how I bond with this car, I may look into the possibility of painting it. And if I do, it's going to be with that guy that painted my BMW. His name is Goyo. He's pretty good and he's a pretty reasonable price. But that's the optional, and that's at the very end of my priorities with these vehicles. I may do a compression test just to see where the vehicle stands and maybe do a transmission flush. You know, all those things that you need to do to make sure that a vehicle runs good. So I'm waiting for my friend. So let me give you a quick walk around for the exterior. The thing with these videos is the video doesn't pick up some of the details of the body. They're going to show you that it needs a lot of work. It's been parked outdoors for too long. So look at all that. And then it has a lot of scratches. This bumper needs reattachment. Seems like it was hit or something. This seems like they repainted it with shoe polish. This, look at this headlights, so hazy, just a lot of oxidation. This grill's coming apart, all this chip in here. Yeah, it needs work. It's missing that light. The owner gave it to me, the seller gave me the replacements. And I see these two little holes. I wonder, is there a fireplace there or what is it that goes there? Those like vents. The tires are brand new. Like I said, the owner only had it for a year. She got new tires for it, a fresh alignment. The brakes are good and it drives pretty solid. So that gives me confidence that mechanically it's in good shape. The power antenna is broken. She said she had a new one. She couldn't find it when I picked up the car. Left my number, see if she calls me so I can go by and pick it up. If not, I'll just get one from a junkyard. So let's take it to the mechanic and see what he says. Seems like the mechanic is not going to be able to do anything with this car for a week because he's changing shops right now. But we're still going to drop it off. I'm just going to park it there for a week. Cross our fingers that it starts. Barely started. Do you hear that sound? So this VSC is always on. Then the airbag sensor off and on. This. What am I doing? What is that sound? Could it be the alternator pulley maybe? But that's why we're going to the mechanic. Seems like this seat was resurfaced at some point, not the rust. It looks pretty clean and it drives pretty smooth. So the drivetrain is pretty healthy and it drives pretty comfortable. One touch windows, has tilt wheel, but not telescopic or power like is the case of my Lexus. So even though it's the same generation, these cars were made around the same time, 97 to early 2000s. My GS has some features that this one doesn't have. Another thing that is different with this is this feels pretty minivanish. Kind of flimsy. In my Lexus, in my other GS, it's super solid, similar to what you find like in a BMW. This feels right out of a RAV4. You can see hard, that's what it is, right? So let's go drive to the mechanic and I'll see you in a bit.